The Southern Governors Forum have made a categorical statement on value-added tax. Governor of Ondo State and Chairman Southern Governors Forum, Mr. Rotimi Akeredolu, has said the move by the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, to push the amendment of the Constitution so as to put collection of value-added tax on exclusive list will fail. The governor said that the issue of VAT, looking at the Constitution, is under the purview of the states. Southern governors have taken a decision to pursue fiscal federalism, and any amendment to it will be dead on arrival. According to Akeredolu, the recent comment by the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, who opposed the move for states to collect VAT because the consumption tax forms 40% of the allocation that accrued to his state, is his personal opinion. Akeredolu insisted that Southern governors were united in their resolve to push the state's collection of the tax. Tundu, fiscal federalism, this is here.
It is, isn't it? And like I've said, I think countless times now, it would have been ideal for the federal government to get ahead of it and show leadership instead of being dragged along because, the time has come. But I'm not sure I agree with the governor. I mean, I watched him on This Day Live, your interview with him, which was great as usual. I'm not sure I agree with him that a constitutional amendment is dead on arrival. I think our leaders continue to underestimate the clamor that we have in this country for fiscal federalism. All we need for constitutional amendments to fly is a 2/3 majority in the Senate and the House of Assembly, House of Reps. And then in the 36 Houses of Assembly, you only need 24 states. And that's it, done and dusted. And I think it's possible at this point. With regards to the VAT, I like the point that he made. A lot of people have made arguments about VAT being collected at federal level being more of expedience. And he also conceded to that point that it is expedient for FIRS to do the collection, but that does not mean that they get to keep the taxes that they have collected on behalf of the states, that some kind of a fee for their trouble can be paid to FIRS, but that the VAT should be domiciled in the states, and I like that point. It's a more nuanced argument than what we have, the for or against, very black and white. There's shades of gray hair.
But the most important thing, the money comes to the states.
That is it. That's the bottom line.
They now get to share it.
No, the money should come to the states and FIRS can get their fee for doing the collection, which is fair. Good. I like that he raised that point.
Dr. Bati?
Well, I mean, I think the governor of Ondo State, chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, has more or less been vindicated. If anything, if we're to go by some of the reports in some of the newspapers today, yesterday, he said that the attempt by the FIRS in a memo, asking the National Assembly to review item 58 in the second schedule to the Constitution, dealing specifically with the exclusive list and collection of, VAT, should be reviewed. He said that it is dead on arrival. And what has been reported is that Senator Ajibola Bashiru, the spokesperson of the Senate, was quoted yesterday, or in the papers today, as saying that, look, the National Assembly has no intention whatsoever to look into the matter as proposed by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. For one reason, that the matter is already sub judice and is, supported in that regard by also Senator Akpanudohe, who also says, no, they have no intention. Before then, the former Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekuremadu, had issued a statement through his spokesperson to say that, look, he doesn't think that the National Assembly has an obligation to dabble into a matter that is already so controversial and that is before the court. So officially, it would seem that the National Assembly is not even going to look into this matter, as proposed by the FIRS. The other explanation that is given is that this will amount to taking the National Assembly back because a constitutional amendment process is, is going on. To now take on an additional matter, maybe to be proposed by the executive, will mean going back because that matter on its own will have to go to all the state houses of assembly and the concurrence of 2/3, of those state houses of assembly will have to be procured. So it looks like, going back on the particular matter. So I think in that sense, the governor of Ondo State, Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, will seem to be right. So what the National Assembly is saying, if we're to rely on those statements that I've quoted, is to see how that process goes all the way to the Supreme Court. And already, Rivers State and Lagos State governments have both gone all the way to the Supreme Court to challenge the ruling at the, Court of Appeal in Abuja, the Federal Court of Appeal in Abuja, about whether Lagos can be joined in the matter and whether or not the, the Court of Appeal in Abuja did not arrive at its judgment, about status quo, maintaining the status quo, per incuriam. That means in error. So that's, but the more disturbing issue that came up yesterday in my conversation with Governor Akeredolu was the objection of David Mahi, the governor of Ebonyi State, saying that, look, he's not together with the other governors with regard to value-added tax. That he thinks that is the voice of Jacob and the body of Esau. He didn't clarify that. And that he thinks that, states that are financially handicapped will be most affected. But of course, Governor Akeredolu dismissed that and said, look, there is effectively a consensus added them, among all the governors with regards to the direction in which they are going, and that, Dave Umahi was merely expressing a personal opinion and not the consensus that was reached by the governors. But I think the underlying point is that it would be nice to see how this plays out all the way to the Supreme Court, because it's a matter of constitutional interpretation. And the Supreme Court will seem to have the final say in that regard.
All right, moving on. Arise News has won 5 awards at the 15th Annual Media Night Out Awards in Lagos. Arise News Factory program, the morning show, was awarded the Best AM program of the year, while 2 of the show anchor, Tunde Abiola and Dr. Ruben Abati, won the award for Analyst of the Year and Media Personality of the Year, respectively. Arise News Network office in Abuja was awarded the Zonal Champion, and finally, Arise News took home the gong for the next rated TV station. A proud moment for the network, I should say. And it's more than a joy and more than a pleasure. And I'm sure when you come back to us here in the studio, congratulations to the team. Oh, my goodness. These are the awards.
Wow.
Great one. Great one.
Congratulations, Tondo.
Congratulations.
I'd like to say you are not a journalist. Well, you've become one.
Apparently so. Apparently so. This is amazing. Thank you very much to the...
And a weekend of double achievement.
Yeah. I had the best weekend.
Turned 10. We enjoyed ourselves.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Yes. We turned up.
After this came along. Congratulations. You are doing very well.
And from you, that's the highest praise possible. That is one of those baptisms.
Yeah.
Thank you, and congratulations to you. And to you, Rufai.
Yes,
congratulations.
And Dr. Abati, there are very strong implications for
for
this.
the entire Money Show team.
Wow.
The Money Show team is not there.
You see, even this implication will not leave aside our chairman, President Nduka Egbana. In fact, you should lead the implication trail.
Yes, I'm sure he's watching.
And I'm sure he's watching. So, our honorable chairman will come to you after this for you to start the implication.
Yes.
And we'll lead the implication.
Because these are what's really
and our MD.
For him.
Yeah.
It's about his vision, his commitment. He's been on this thing for quite some years.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, 5 awards, just like that.
Yeah.
So he must feel really, gratified that the effort has been worth it.
Yeah.
And that the public is noticing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we are here.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, the only reward for hard work is more hard work.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe some people have noticed that there's something that there's something we're doing, so we can only work harder. And the awards also belong to those guys in the background.
Yeah.
The people we quarrel with every day, the producers.
Without whom the show would not be possible.
Who will say,
Thank you, some producers.
They don't get seen.
Yeah.
We're the ones who sit here, but they are part of the operation, and they are a very important part of the success, both of the station and also particularly of the morning show, and also our own individual efforts.
And I have to say about our chairman, Prince Nduka Agbagbena, he doesn't like being called Prince. He prefers Mr. But he's a prince, okay? And a Duke. It never occurred to me in a million years that I'll be sitting here doing this career. He told me it's something I could do. I argued I cannot. But good luck arguing with Nduka Agbagbena. You will lose that argument. And here I am, and I really want to thank him. And of course, the NMNA, thank you so much. I'm grateful. Thank you.
And I want to also say, on the morning show, special thanks to our fourth presenter, the unseen presenter, the MD of Arise News Channel.
No, she's the MD. She's the producer. She's the presenter.
Everybody.
She's everything.
And Ruben, sit like this. Ruben, you are shaking. And
that's why I called her our fourth presenter. Yes. The only thing is she doesn't get to sit here every morning, but trust me, she's on the show every morning. And our producer, Ozzy Okoli, thank you so much.
And Kingsley.
And Kingsley. Thank you so much to the entire team. I mean,
Yes, and before Kingsley and Ozzy, Charles
too, yes.
Charles
was
part of it all.
Yeah.
We quarrel, but we make up.
Definitely. And that's the thing about the family. Arise is one big family, a lot of joy and a lot of felicitations. And trust me, that's why you see the chemistry on air, because truly, we're a bunch of people that truly care about one another. We love one another. And, you just see that permeate every morning. Really, we've become the ideal first family in Nigeria.
And so back to the news, I wanted to just say, as far as I'm concerned, the VAT must be enshrined in the Constitution. VAT to states. We need it in black and white. Fiscal federalism in black and white. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's that.
I'll say that's all on the news headlines. Take a short break now.
Now, our dependable Rotas Adiri is here to give us an African business update. Good morning, Rotas.
Good morning, Tundu. Good morning, Doctor. Good morning, Rufai. And congrats on the award. So we begin very quickly with the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, at the MPC, recently concluded MPC meeting, Monetary Policy Committee meeting, saying that, rates, of course, everybody knows the rates were held constant. But also saying that if you have legitimate foreign exchange demand, the central bank might approve it above its limit, subject to a review. Let's take a listen to what the governor said.
What we are saying, if you have any legal, legitimate business you want to conduct, please take your business to a bank. You want to travel? Go to your bank, they will sell you FX. You want to pay school fees? Go to your bank, they will sell you FX. Pay medical bills, which are some of the reasons that people give for going to Bureau exchange, please go to your bank. Indeed, I want to put it on record. If the amount you want is even above the limit that is recognized, and we find that the reason you are making those demands is legitimate, your bank will speak to us and will give you more than what is even the limit. Don't go elsewhere. Go to your bank. In the same vein, you have dollar to sell, go to your bank. We don't recognize and we will not see it again. That is.
All right, also another update. Aboki FX has been in the news because that MPC clip is just a portion of what was a very must-see TV. The MPC meetings have become must-see TV. We were together, were we not, over the weekend celebrating a birthday, speaking about Arise TV being a family. And at that, Tundu, happy birthday again to Khalid. At that birthday celebration, we were all talking about the economic issues. So Aboki FX has suspended its rate updates. It's no longer doing them because the central bank governor says they are manipulating the rates. And if you think about it, you can post a particular rate on one day and then post a higher rate on another day and then profits off of that difference. They put out a press release saying that they did not. And here is an interesting chart. Let's take a look at this chart here. I got this from the central bank's website. The central bank actually tracks BDC rates because they regulate BDC. So there's a bit of a divergence. If you look at the blue bar is the central bank BDC tracking from October 2020 up until April 2021. And then you've got Aboki FX in orange. Outside of October, or rather November, where the central bank rates, or rather the BDC rates was 10 naira higher than Aboki FX. And then in December, where you've got this Aboki FX at 490 and the central bank rates at the BDC rates at 471. If you look from January all the way to April, there's been not more of a difference of about 4 naira. They've kind of tracked themselves going forward. So they do have to answer to allegations that a lot of FX has been moving in and out of the owner's accounts, which the central bank governor made clear on Friday. So they've got to answer to those allegations. But for now, Aboki FX has suspended all rates updates on their sites, and they're no longer doing that, at least for now, until the air is cleared. So again, the official rate, the central bank wants everyone to recognize the I&E window, investors and exporters window, where the rate's about 410, 412. And again, if you have legitimate demand, the CBN might give you FX above your cap. Finally, everybody's looking forward to Kingsley Moghalu coming on, speaking with you all. He made the news about a day ago saying that Nigeria has certain FX options that need to be looked at. I won't get into that, of course. I'm looking forward to you talking to him later on this morning. And that is our African Business Update.
They've suspended Aboki FX. As the naira, appreciated? That's a big question I'd like to ask, number one. And secondly, we all know the solution to the problem. Let's do the heavy lifting. We need to produce within. Our manufacturers, for instance, are having a glut now. They're looking for $2 billion. Why? Because they need to get manufacturing inventory that most of them come from outside. We used to have glass, better glass in Ugeli back in the days. We are not producing glass again. We used to have factories. If you have factories, you will create products and people will pay you in Forex from them. That if you don't have, you will blame everybody for your problem. In fact, let me use a local palace, you will cash winch for the Forex problem. Maybe we are catching winch now. That's
Well, in all of this whole kerfuffle about foreign exchange, nobody's really talking about the exciting prospects of our digital currency, the e-naira, which is going to be launched on October 1st. I'm really excited about that. Are you, Rotas? Do you see any teething problems down the line? I'm an optimist. I don't.
I'm an optimist as well. I mean, I do think the central bank has been studying this now for a couple of years. The banks, the financial sector is going to be involved. The wallets will be there. I'm excited as well. It'll be early days. They'll roll it out slowly but surely. But yeah, I mean, they're moving in line with the rest of the world. Europe is doing this, the United States, China. So yeah, I'm excited as well for the digital naira.
Well, since you mentioned Kingsley Moghalu, I have something here on my phone which he wrote over the weekend, which he calls FX Tutorial by Kingsley Moghalu. He will be on the program later, so he'll be in a better position to give us his full perspectives. And he's saying that, look, the most important determinant of the value of the naira is whether or not the Nigerian economy is productive and competitive in international trade. And he says he's not talking about diversification to cashew nuts and yam tubers. Those are primary commodities, but real serious engineering and innovation. And the fact that we don't control the price of crude is part of the problem. And he concludes by talking about leadership, the place of leadership. And I link that to, the CBN governor saying, if you need Forex for anything, it's available. You can even get more than you need. Well, is Emefiele ready to walk the talk? Okay? Or is he just bluffing? The real problem is that we have a crisis with Forex in this country. We have a liquidity crisis. Is the Forex available? Is NMPC still making returns, to the federal pulse? When last did that happen? How much was it? What is the level? What is actually the truth? It's not enough for the CBN governor to come and bluff. Look, the intangibles, basic intangibles, people can't even get them. For you to get Forex to pay school fees in the UK is a nightmare. You have to queue up for weeks on end. So where is that Forex that the CBN governor is talking about? Where is it going to come from? Go to your bank. Go to your bank. I know people who have been queuing up at the banks just to pay school fees. Some parents have had to change date of resumption from September to January because the forex is not available just to send a child to school. There are people who need to go to hospitals abroad. They can't find this forex. When we see this forex in the banks, yes, we'll turn around and say, well, maybe the CBN governor was saying the truth. As for Aboki FX, yeah, it's been almost 48 hours since only when they shut down the platform. People have been taunting the CBN on social media that, oh, what has happened? What's the situation this morning? Maybe it's now 1 naira to the dollar, but it's not. It's over 560 naira, to the dollar in the capital market. So we really need to put up our thinking caps instead of this media, statements and opportunities and bluffing, and leading people. What do we do with the naira? Do we have to liberalize the forex market? Do we need to take the advice that has been given by the Bretton Woods institutions with regard to harmonizing the foreign exchange regime? Enough of talk. Let's walk the talk and do something serious. But I don't know, maybe Rotus, maybe you know a market where the dollar, since the shutting down of Aboki FS, has now become 1 naira to the dollar,
Rotus,
tongue in cheek, that is.
Rotus, maybe that other website they just created over the weekend, that one that starts with the M, FX?
Mayfi FX, they call it.
The lampooning is out of hand. Well, thank you so much for your time, Rotus, today and on Saturday. Now moving on to business updates with Michael Wilson, who's joining us now from London. Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, good morning. Overall, then, the usual kind of concerns about regulatory problems in China, soaring energy prices, that's hitting the world completely. And whether these inflation figures that we've had over the past few weeks are actually spiking or whether they're permanent or not. And of course, the overlying global growth problem is the globe actually growing economically or not? So Asia is off to a quiet start, really, relatively nervous. Mainland China is on holiday. Japan, South Korea as well having holidays. The Hang Seng down more than 3%. Evergrande shares have been down 14%. I'll come on to that in a moment. Mainland China markets therefore closed today. This property crisis with Evergrande is actually growing. People are trying to work out what the fallout's actually going to be, whether it'll just affect the company itself or whether it'll affect the banks. I'm telling you now, it'll affect the banks. So that's worrying it too. But 30 days to go before there's an official default as far as that company is concerned. So the story will keep on going. There'll be no quick solution to that. US recap then, an FOMC meeting later this week, increasing noise about tax, increasing noise about infrastructure spending and all the rest of it from Washington and how difficult the political problems are. No surprise there. We saw the markets falling really, but over the week, the indices in the United States just ended slightly lower for the week overall. The EU, the fallout from the submarine business is actually continuing right now. There are rumblings from Europe that the Eurozone-Australia trade deal are now dead in the water. The French, as you know, are very unhappy about this, recalling their ambassadors. We can talk about the wider concerns, if you like, after I finish this report. The European markets are beginning to wonder what's going to happen after Angela Merkel goes in Germany. There are moves by the French to edge out Germany as being the EU superpower. That's the kind of chat that's going on at the moment. Of course, the French president, Emmanuel Macron, has his own election to fight in the spring of 22. As far as the UK is concerned, the government is considering some kind of state-backed loans to energy companies. This is what the business secretary has been talking, Kwasi Kwarteng's been talking to them all weekend, talking to regulators and all the rest of it. The UK is not alone in this. Soaring energy prices are happening all the way around the world. What will these loans do? Will the state back it? I don't know whether they will or they won't. Then again, I was very very, very cautious about what would happen during the financial crisis and banks getting backed there by the state. Yes, they did, and it saved them. Who knows if it's actually going to happen to energy companies as well. The UK is going to cut the surcharge on financial activity in the city. It's 8% at the moment, the surcharge. It gets in about £1.6 billion, which basically is peanuts, to be absolutely honest. As you know, there was an increase in corporation tax to come in 2023, announced in the budget in March, going up from 19 to 25%. It's an idea of making the city of London more competitive. Right, to commodities. Now, just before we go to the specifics, let me do an overall picture at the weekend. They're being sold heavily, no question about that. Before the Chinese holiday, the Chinese leaders were saying that they were going to use market tools to control commodity prices. I do find that rather strange, actually, given that China is a net importer of commodities. I think it probably means that they're going to increase. They're going to release more commodities from their stocks onto the market, but they're not price makers. They're price takers in China, and that's really the difference there. Copper down 1.5%, aluminium down 1.5%, platinum down 2.5%. Palladium down 3.3%. So all that commodity frisson coming from people getting nervous about where the world's going. So mainland China, as I keep saying, on holiday today, so therefore oil not doing a great deal. Bit of a worry about Gulf of Mexico production during the hurricane season. Commodity sell-off affecting the oil price too. And gold, well, just simply follows the other metals, lower, palladium, platinum, and all the rest of them I've already been talking to you about. We're looking at a target, well, it finished unchanged at $17.55 per ounce gold did, so not a lot of movement. Again, not until we get big inflation pressures coming do I suspect to see any great movement in gold. That's your global view.
Well, energy crisis in the UK, Alok Sharma, the climate change, boss, says that there's nothing to worry about, that this really is nothing for small suppliers to worry about. But, the suppliers of energy are saying that they face a serious crisis, and that with the shortage in the supply of carbon dioxide, it may be difficult to have turkey, Christmas turkey. So the energy suppliers, the wholesalers, are saying maybe government should remove the cap on prices. What do you think is the best option for Britain at this moment with regard to this energy crisis that you referred to earlier?
I don't know. I'm not a politician. All I would say is that I would take a long view, quite honestly. It may be that some kind of deal is struck between the government and the energy suppliers. Undoubtedly, as far as the smaller companies are concerned, it's become a very crowded market because everybody has been wanting to sell you energy. But the prices have risen actually frighteningly. It's not just about internal problems within the UK, the interconnector business we were talking about, the cable to France and so on, because we import electricity from them. And also the Russians have been, no question, been manipulating energy prices with their Nord Stream, trying to get leverage into Europe with their Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is still awaiting permission from Germany and the EU to bring actually gas in. So energy, what's good about all, I don't know what the solutions are. I suspect that there will be some sort of government help and so on. Maybe we'll have to put a few extra sweaters on. Who knows? Christmas will probably be slightly less garish than it normally is. No problem there. I think the important point about it all is that at last people are looking at energy and realizing that there are no easy answers. It costs to make energy. It costs for us to have cheap energy, and energy will no longer be cheaper. So everything looking forward to the way in which everybody in every country around the world actually reacts to it. Developing economies are not interested in doing it, but maybe the developed economies will. Will the developing economies follow suit? No, I don't think they will. They'll go their own way.
All right, thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate you for your time. We'll go straight to Adeso Moro. We'll talk about COVID-19 pandemic. Adeso, great to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Now I know you had fun without me over the weekend, but it's all good. And
we
congratulations
missed you,
to the entire team of the morning show and the Rise News. I miss you guys too.
All your fans were asking after you. Where is Adeso?
Where's Adeso?
I'm right here. Okay, we do know that the COVID-19 pandemic is all about data. When you look at the virus, the numbers of infections or deaths, or even vaccination, it's about data. So let's start, as we would do, with the latest data from the Johns Hopkins University. Well, the latest tally shows that more than 228 million people have been infected with the coronavirus or by the coronavirus, and over 4.7 million others have unfortunately lost their lives. 5.9 billion doses have now been administered. COVID-19 vaccines have now been administered, and this is just as some countries are administering booster shots to show up reported declining immunity in their population. Also, more countries are considering vaccine mandates. There's been about 40%. I can tell you an example where the vaccine mandates seems to be working. In Italy, there's been about 14% increase of those who registered to get a jab this week alone. This is coming ahead of an October 15 deadline for workers in Italy, both in public and private practices in the country. But here in Nigeria, 10 states and the Federal Capital Territory have reported 168 new infections and 2 COVID-19 related deaths in the last 24 hours, according to the NCDC. A breakdown of those figures shows that Lagos posted the most infections with 75 cases, while Kaduna, Kano, and Ondo states in Nigeria officially reported 2 cases each. Meanwhile, the NPHCDA, which is the primary body for vaccination in Nigeria, says over 4.4 million eligible persons targeted. I always use the word targeted. It's not the general population. Targeted for vaccinations have now received a dose of the available vaccines, while 1.77 million others have been fully vaccinated, making up just about 1.6%, 1.5% of the targeted population to receive a COVID-19 jab. We keep our fingers crossed to see if this is a case of being slow and steady for Africa's largest population. But in the meantime, just 13 African countries have reached the WHO target of fully vaccinating 10% of their population against COVID-19 by September. In a statement released yesterday, the UN body said crippling vaccine supply shortages have slowed down many countries in the African region. The countries, there's a list. The countries include Seychelles, that has vaccinated 72% of its population. Mauritius comes in second with 55%. Morocco comes in third with 44%. And Tunisia takes the fourth spot with 21%. Others that are below 20% include Comoros, Cape Verde, Eswatini, Lesotho, Botswana, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Mauritania, as well as Equatorial Guinea, which has done just 11%. So that's from the WHO for the African continent. Of course, again, I told you Nigeria has just done 1.6. But if you look at these countries and in terms of population, perhaps it might not be a fair assessment to say Nigeria is truly lagging. And on Friday, the UK government reviewed its travel restriction list, potentially doing away with its traffic light system. Now, from Monday, the 4th of October, that system will be replaced by a 2-tier system that is a red list of countries. Those are high-risk countries, and the rest of the world. This effectively removes countries from the amber list, such as Nigeria, to the rest of the world list, allowing fully vaccinated travelers from that list to go to the UK without needing a pre-departure test. And also from the 22nd of this month, 8 more destinations will be removed from the red list, which is the high-risk countries again. However, that's not the story this morning. The story this morning is the reactions that have followed the announcement from the UK. For instance, South Africa says it is shocked, it is disappointed that it remains on the UK red list travel restrictions despite having a smaller number of infections than the UK, having similar variants dominating just as you have in the UK, as well as having advanced genomic surveillance just like the UK, and also presenting transparency and science and policy. South Africa describes the move by the UK to leave it on its red list as discriminatory. Another country is also angered by the new decision in the UK, and that's India. India says this overhaul is less straightforward than it appears because only fully vaccinated travelers who have received shots from an approved list of countries qualify. Although Britain also announced on Friday that it will recognize vaccinations given in 17 more countries, including Australia, Canada, Japan, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, expanding what previously existed to cover only shots in the UK, US, and the EU. This list does not recognize the copy of the AstraZeneca being administered in India. That's the WHO-approved COVID shield. As we know, this has been widely distributed around the world, not just in Africa. So should the UK go ahead with its current list of approved administered vaccines, it would mean that individuals fully vaccinated by the COVID shield remain unvaccinated and would have to go through the requirements of the UK Red List, which includes quarantine, expensive pre- and arrival tests. Well, all of these issues are sure to dominate talks as world leaders head to New York for the 76th United Nations General Assembly. It's the first General Assembly's, it's the General Assembly's first in-person meeting since the pandemic began. Now, despite the raging pandemic, about 100 leaders, including Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, would be attending physically. He has left the country. But we're also told by the United Nations that 60 leaders have opted to deliver pre-recorded speeches. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Anisua.